to the weekly reading for July. So as some of you may have seen from the, I meant monthly reading. So some of you may have seen in my last video for this past week, I did one final weekly reading for the last week of June, start of July. But from here forward, for the purposes of time and being in a second quarantine and limited internet, limited time, all of these things, on behalf of my part and the viewers as well, I am switching to just doing monthly readings. So hopefully that works out for you guys and you're able to find the time to sit down and give these readings a go once a month. Just gonna start off with a little bit of a astrology forecast, and then I'm going to move into a tarot reading, and we'll have a few themes planned, so not as spontaneous as the weekly readings, a little more planned out and looking at different segments of our lives. Before we get started, I do want to ask everyone to go ahead and subscribe. And yes, that may mean that you have to sign in to your YouTube account instead of just watching it without signing in or creating an account. But I would really appreciate it. It helps the channel a lot. It helps more people be able to see the readings, and spending so much time and giving so much heart and effort. I would really appreciate if as many people could see them as possible. And then also on that note, I also changed the channel, as you guys can probably see, the channel name. And so it's now New Earth Goddess. And so you'll want to make sure you're subscribed as well to make sure that you're watching and you're getting notifications for the right channel and not the old channel name. All right, so that said, July astrologically looks like it's going to be just a month of really marinating in these retrogrades. We have a full moon lunar eclipse in Cancer this weekend, tomorrow, actually, July 4th, since I'm recording this on the 3rd. That'll be tomorrow, July 4th. And it'll be in the evening or nighttime, depending on where you are in the United States. If you're somewhere else other than the United States, it will be another time, so you should look that up. But it won't be a lunar eclipse that's like too incredibly visible. It's pretty much going to be just a partial lunar eclipse. I mean, it will be a full eclipse, but because of the way the shadows are, you'll just be able to see a partial eclipse. So it's more so impactful and impressive for what it brings to the table energetically and emotionally. So this is the third of 3 eclipses of this eclipse season. The last eclipse was the solar eclipse on the summer solstice. And as some of you may remember, that was a very powerful one, very highly charged, energetically charged, brought a lot of stuff to the surface, illuminated a lot of things. Whereas this lunar eclipse is kind of like checking in with those solar eclipse energies and kind of closing them up. So wherever you were on the solar eclipse, this lunar eclipse is going to kind of serve to re-examine those themes and to close them up and really integrate them. And of course, it's Cancer season, Cancer sun season, as well as being a Cancer full moon. So, a lot of the themes are going to be based around our emotions and family, our relationships, and, just the inner workings of our own being, more internalized sort of feelings. And we also have Mercury in Cancer as well. So, with the mind, and it's a Mercury retrograde in Cancer. So when it's a retrograde, things are more reflective. That RE word, very important for retrogrades, to consider for retrograde. So everything is going to be very reflective, very just inward and looking back in time, maybe visiting old wounds, old triggers, healing old wounds, old triggers. Because it is in Cancer, once again, it'll be much more of an emotional theme, much more based around family and love and closer intimate relationships, less of that sort of outward energy that Mercury can often bring, and that need to like speak and really enunciate and put forth what we're thinking into the world. This is going to be more reflecting on our inner world and placing names and feelings and experiences on what we're feeling internally. And once again, maybe closing some things up, looking at some old patterns and closing those things up. Something that's also really important to note for this July, this astrological season, is that we just had Saturn move into Capricorn, back into Capricorn, not yesterday, July 1st. And we also have a Saturn-Pluto conjunction. And so Saturn is our planet of karma, of structure, of boundaries. And Pluto is our planet of death and rebirth, of how we deconstruct things and then how we reconstruct them. And so this is definitely a theme on the individual level, but of course we're also seeing this on the collective level with, especially it being America's birthday this weekend, of us, examining what needs to be deconstructed from, America politically, culturally, from our, what we know about our history, and what can be put in its place. Not everything has to go, but some things need to go and some things need to be upgraded and updated. And so that makes this lunar eclipse even more powerful, the fact that it's on America's birthday, and with that Saturn-Pluto conjunction, about redefining boundaries, redefining what the structures that serve us and do not serve us are. It's going to be a really important time to do that on the collective level, but once again, it's not the best time to maybe speak outwardly about it. It's a better time to reflect internally, and maybe, Cancers are they're known for making everything very personalized and very subjective. Like you could say a comment like, wow, it's kind of a bummer day today, or it's kind of a gloomy day. And they'll be like, oh my gosh, well, you're with me, so that means that I'm gloomy or I'm a bummer. Whereas, a sign that's more objective wouldn't be like that. They would just be like, oh, I'm sorry, what's wrong? I'm the positive presence here for you. Let me help you with that. Which is, very outward. That's very, our air and our fire signs. The water and the earth signs tend to be more subjective. They take the outer and make it about themselves. And the air and fire signs kind of take the inner and push it into the outer. And of course, we need an even relationship between both. Otherwise, we are living in a delusional reality where everything that happens on the outside is about us, which is kind of very selfish and self-centered and self-focused. Or we are making everything that's going on inside our hearts and minds and pushing it onto the collective, which is, can be very egoic and very sort of aggressive and forceful. So we want to have an even balance between these right now, but, both can be used for their highest and best. That's just kind of an example of how they can be used at their, biggest detriment. Used in their highest and best, that Cancer reflective quality of looking at the outer and examining the outer, especially after all this information has come to light, especially with Venus being in Gemini. Gemini is like the TMI planet. We love having more and more information. We can't have too much information as Geminis. But it being in Venus, it makes it all about, instead of like a sun sign Gemini or a Mercury Gemini, which is what I am, It's just very like information for information's sake, very objective, doesn't really have to mean anything about me or to me, not really tying my identity to it. I just want to know, because I want to know the nature of reality and truth. That's it. It might have something to do with me, it might not have anything to do with me at all, doesn't matter. I want to know it either way. But Venus is a very personal planet. It's rules our love lives, our family lives, and our notions of like closeness, and how we express love on the biggest and deepest levels. So, this Gemini quality of asking for so much information and attaining so much information so quickly is being put through the filter of love and, once again, family, and just how we express love outwardly and nurture ourselves. And so we want to be careful how much information we are taking in right now with all these retrogrades, because there's already so much internally to process. But once again, it's kind of hard to avoid with all this big Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter's in Capricorn too, Jupiter, energy causing our whole, country to rethink things and figure out what works, what doesn't work. It's hard to avoid that because it's so big right now. And so naturally we're going to internalize some of that. And, you can use it as a lesson, for your own identity and your own personal stuff that's going on, as well as how you can contribute to the collective healing, because we each play our own part. If we were all just objective robots, it wouldn't really be the, diverse, like mixing and melting pot that America really is, and that the world is. So, it is important for us each to say, this is my identity, this is who I am, this is how this affects me, and I'm just one tiny part of this. But once again, it's more important right now to kind of internalize those things and think about it for a while before speaking outwardly. We will have that time soon. Most likely Leo season, which starts July 22nd, that'll start to change a little bit. Leo is ruled by the sun, so we'll be more in our sun energy, and we'll be, kind of wanting to like radiate outwards more in that fire energy of Leo. But while we're in the water season of Cancer, things are more personal, they're more contemplative, and, there's always a time and place for that. We have to understand where we're being subjective, where our identities make us see things in a different way than other people's identities, and how they're all equally valid. Whether someone's factually right or wrong, your feelings are still always valid about something. And so, like understanding where people are coming from based on their identity. But once again, we don't have to like go out there and fix it so much that Geminis are fixers, very solution oriented. So we may feel that sort of urge to go out and start fixing things. But what we really need to be doing, once again, is contemplating very deeply and understanding how our own identity fits into this grand scheme of things, how other people are having that same experience, and just reflecting, just digesting, taking it all in. We've already had some huge information come out this week, you guys, politically, for the United States, and of course, sociologically and spiritually. And so we're only going to see that start to really explode more and more and more. So it's going to be a lot to take in, instead of being so like, oh, I know what's going on, or I know what needs to be done. Just sit with it a little longer. There's no harm in sitting with it a little bit longer. All of this stuff that's been going on with our country has been going on for months now. And once again, we've learned all so much, doesn't matter who you are. We've all learned so much in this time that, what's another month of learning? And I think it was Albert Einstein that said that, is one of the greatest geniuses of our time, Pisces. So, very big thinker, visionary and whatnot. And I'm not quoting him exactly, but it's one of my favorite quotes, and he says something along the line of, if he had to like solve the world's biggest problem, he would spend 99% of the time digesting and learning about the problem and 1% of the time fixing it. How many of us do that? No, almost nobody. we learn 20% and we go, oh, I know, because I'm this and because I'm that and I have this education and because I'm this identity or I'm this and I'm that, I know. And because I'm, just really eager and anxious and I don't want to sit with myself and I don't want to sit with knowledge, I know. I don't want to learn more. I don't need to learn more. This goes along with my beliefs. This goes along with who I hate. This goes along with who I love. Boom, let's go. The solution is going to be wrong. It's not going to be the right solution because you didn't take enough time to digest. So we really need to take time to digest. And there's going to be fluctuations. There's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be days where you think you got it all figured out. And then the next day, you're not going to feel like you've figured things out when new information comes to light, whether that's from all of our external reality or from your internal reality and your internal processing and healing. So just be patient and just ride those waves and really use a journal at this time. I've been journaling a lot already this Cancer season, and I can't stress enough the value in that because it takes away that need to go out there and add all this extra chatter into the world whenever we all have so much to process as is. It just creates more clutter and it just creates more, a lot of times, division between us all, and also fragmentation, segmentation of our own beings, it slows our own spiritual enlightenment as well. And so, just take time with it. Allow yourself to think this thought, and then the next day think the exact opposite. Nothing bad is going to happen if you do that. It's actually really good. And then, by the time Leo season starts to come around, August, September starts to come around, the planets are going to start to change, and it's going to be more of a time to move forward with all of those things that you have spent a long time examining and really taking your time because you care about yourself and you care about others and you care about taking the proper time to digest the problem and not just egoically or subjectively push, decide right away, internally decide right away, or outwardly speak on it right away. That doesn't mean don't share information, not share your opinions, but once again, don't be so attached and don't be so eager to do that first and foremost versus digesting. Like, for every one thing you're putting out there, digest 50 things. That's kind of the ratio that we need to go at right now. So yeah, hope that helps. And of course there's other stuff going on astrologically, but those are the big main themes. And if anything comes up in the tarot readings that jogs my memory about other things that are going on astrologically, I'll of course mention that as we go along. Okay, cool. So like I said, I have some themes that I'm going to have us focus on today, doing it a little bit different. So we're going to go through 5 different major categories of life that are really, important all the time, but especially this Cancer season with all these retrogrades and with the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, which is a really huge conjunction that in Capricorn that hasn't happened in 500 years. So, these themes are very much tailored to what's going on astrologically, as well as what I was just feeling intuitively before, of course, setting the flow and the schedule for this reading. So, this is going to be for the collective, but of course, especially anyone and everyone that is watching right now, and tuning in. So whoever tunes in, this reading is for you more than anybody else. And I just ask my guides to go ahead and pick up on whoever is going to be tuning in at any point in the future for the whole month of July, and to allow me to pick the cards that will be for your highest and best. So just channeling pure light energies, angelic realm, God, and everything we hold divine. Oh my goodness. This came up last week, you guys, and like I told you guys, it's also been a big theme in a lot of my private session readings. So, okay, here we go again. Red jasper. And the theme here is healthy boundaries. So, kind of like what I was just saying, instead of being so meshed with, I don't know if that's a word, but it feels like it is. Everyone being so, mishmashed and entwined with everyone and everything right now. Like, we really just need to be more in our own individual selves. And so we need to have healthy boundaries around that. So we need to be, making sure that the people that we love, that we maybe even live with, are respecting our boundaries, our need for our individual private time and solitude to heal. A lot of people are in relationships, whether it's romantic or friendships or roommates, where it's considered rude if you're not at the disposal of that other person, like always or instantaneously. And it's actually really rude to expect that because we are all going through our own journey. And if you don't give your person or your people or yourself at least an hour or two or more of alone time to just contemplate, where you're not just alone doing errands or doing busy work or working, but you're actually just sitting with yourself and you're healing things internally, and you're doing all that retrograde contemplative work, then you're not going to be able to do the work that we're meant to do right now. And it's going to be rushed and it's going to be messy. And we're not going to learn the true value of boundaries, which can be really beautiful and can be something that's really supportive in a relationship with anyone that you have. This also could be for work. It could be for anything. It could be, once again, with the outer world and with, like social media, like keeping a healthy boundary there between yourself and social media, between yourself and the world, taking it all in, but not to the detriment of your mental health or your emotional health or your spiritual health. And once again, not feeling like you have to overstep other people's boundaries and, with your own ego and your own things to say and your own emotions before really taking the proper time to digest and on your own. I always say it, I pretty much say it every week now these days on my readings and on my channel, but nothing can happen on the outside that's not already happening on the inside. So, if you are anxious on the inside and you are confused about yourself on the inside, you're confused about your, relationships, you are, maybe insecure, or you are, just in a more negative emotional state, then what is what you're putting out going to be? It's going to be through that. So is that what you want to give the world? I don't think that most of us do want to give the world that. We think we're giving the world great things when we put our energy out there. But if we are still on the inside feeling all these conflicts and darker emotions, then there's no way it can be separate. And so we really have to do the work so that we are coming from a place of, clarity, authenticity, and unconditional love and understanding. So we can only do that if we maintain our healthy boundaries, do our own work. And a lot of that is a lot of times going to involve maybe having some, restrictions with social media, restrictions with people that you know and love, restrictions on yourself. And, of course, if it's with other people, it's really important to communicate that. You can't just kind of just like leave people and then not really say anything unless you want to maybe lose those relationships for the rest of your life. You have to, give people a heads up. So make sure that you're doing that too. It doesn't have to be like so negative about them. A lot of times people when they're setting boundaries, even if it's for good reasons, a lot of times they end up offending other people because they're still very based in this like hierarchical thinking of like, I'm the grounded one, I'm the spiritual one, you're the muggle, so you're affecting me really negatively, and so you have to go. I can't handle your energy. You don't have to speak about it like that, even if that may feel true, and maybe it even is true, but you don't have to say it like that. You can just say like, hey, I'm feeling the need to really be in my own energy this month. So just to let you know, I'm going to be requiring some more alone time. So, when this sign is on my door, or you hear this, music playing in my room, or, like I give you a certain signal, or I just give you a heads up that I'm going to need an hour or two or a few hours of alone time, or maybe even a whole day of alone time. I'd really appreciate if you could, just respect that and flow with me on that, because I just really need it. Make it about yourself. You don't have to make it about what's wrong with the other person. Make it, or the world, or social media. I love people get so mad about social media. Like, social media is doing all these bad things to them. You're the one getting on social media. You're the one with the emotional triggers to get triggered by social media. It's not social media. It's not even a fucking being. Sorry, excuse me. But it's not a being. It's just a freaking electronic thing that's there with a bunch of people that are on it. And also, you have control over who you follow and who you don't. And so, that's really a reflection for you. Once again, if you feel like you have to place all these negative labels on others, on the world, on social media, on technology, whatever it is, instead of just making it about yourself. And once again, it doesn't have to be negative. A lot of times when we think boundaries, we think, oh, there has to be a negative party. Is it them? Is it me? It doesn't have to be either. Just, you need what you need, express it, move forward. It can be positive for both parties, for everyone. End of story. Okay. All right, let's get a clarifier on this. Okay, beautiful. Firm foundation, I love it. So it's red too, so red jasper is red, great for root chakra. Healthy boundaries, that's all root chakra. Where do I start and end? Where do you start and end? This being firm foundation, this is root chakra as well. So you see the mountains are our earth element, which is root chakra. And so this is saying that if we do not take the time to have healthy boundaries, or we're not properly communicating our healthy boundaries, we're never going to be able to form a solid, firm foundation for ourselves, for our relationships, for our families, for our country. It's going to just continue to be shaky. It's going to continue to be based in ego and subjectivity and all these different things. You need time to build a foundation. You don't just build a house overnight. It takes a long time to build a house, right? You don't build the roof and put on the plaster and put in the pretty windows and all these things and put your beautiful curtains before you build the foundation of the house. It sounds silly to say, but that's literally how so many people live their lives. They think about the curtains and all the pretty fixtures and how they think about our country too, and then the world, and they don't think about what the actual foundation is. And they don't take enough time. The foundation should take the longest time to build, and we literally spend the least amount of time focusing on it. Foundations are kind of boring, and once again, they're not very they don't leave a lot of room for individualization and prettiness and all these things, but they are what create the support for all of those things. So we need them. We have to have them. We have to have our own solid, firm foundation internally on the individual and personal level, so that we can have that in our relationships, our family, and on the collective level. Okay, so let's see what's next. I'm going to do, let's do another crystal energy. Balance, the Boji stone. I think that's how you say it. Boji or Boji. I'm not really too familiar with these actually, to be honest, but it looks very like third eye chakra, kind of looks purple, and the picture is very like cosmic and ethereal. And it says balance. So once again, this goes with all of our themes of balancing the inner and the outer, balancing yourself and the other, and just balancing your energy in general. It takes time to find balance. Balance is one of the hardest things to rush. You cannot rush balance. It's ridiculous. You have to take your time when you're balancing. If you were just learning how to walk on a tightrope, would you rush through it? No, you wouldn't. You would take a long time to really study yourself, because your life depends on it, to find this perfect balance. So think about your own life like that, your own healing, your own internal emotional ecosystem. Is it crazy and wild and everywhere? If so, you're not balanced. I mean, it's okay to be that way because, that's how things flow, but we need to use the flow to find balance. And of course, it's not always the time to be balanced. It's not always the time to be on a tightrope and be so perfectly masterful of balance. But right now, Spirit is saying that we do need to focus on balance a little more than maybe we normally do. All right, let's look at the next energy. Okay, heartache and loss. This is Three of Swords energy. So to me, this is really saying, this is all about the heart chakra. To me, this is saying that Spirit is asking us to balance the energies that are going around in our heart concerning heartache and loss. So, this has been a theme for me recently where, things I haven't thought about in a while or felt in a while are coming back to the surface. And it's not nice, it's not pretty, but it gives you this time to revisit it so you can balance it. It's only coming back up if you haven't come to a place of balance with it. Where balance is like basically acknowledging, yes, this is what happened to me, this sucked, this did not feel good, but here's the lesson, and here's the silver lining, here's the positive side. And I'm not going to only see it as positive, I'm going to see it as this balance of negative and positive that brings me to this place that I'm at right now, where I can understand healthy boundaries now, and I can understand how to have a firm foundation and, learn the lessons that I was meant to learn when I came down here to earth in this lifetime, and to contribute what I'm meant to contribute. This can be heartache and loss on a collective level or a personal level. Retrograde season tends to bring a lot of breakups and sort of emotional, trying times with people that we love. And once again, with everything going on in our country, it can be a lot of heartache and loss for a lot of us feeling that way. But once again, finding a balance of it all. Don't just get so lost and consumed in it all. Learn how to heal your heart chakra and find balance. Libra is the sign of balance, and Libra's ruling planet is Venus, so the heart chakra. I don't think we have any planets in Libra right now. No, we don't. No strong Libra energies going on right now, but still, we all know that energy and we know what it's about, and so it's balancing the energy of the heart. Libras are very good at what is this person's feelings and thoughts? What are this person's feelings and thoughts? Libra may even have, being an air sign, having a strong mind, Libra may have an opinion about, my opinion is actually this person is a little bit more right, but they're not going to treat that person like that. They're not, or this person like they're not right. They're going to treat both people like they're equal, and they're going to really help mediate and navigate conversation between the two, as if you could never tell what the Libra's opinion is at all. They're not doing it in a manipulative way to get this person to win and this person to lose. They are wanting an even playing field regardless of what happens. If this person wins, that's what's meant to be. This person wins, that's what's meant to be. It doesn't matter whether they agree or not. And so, that's one of my favorite things about Libras, and I think that we can all really learn from that Libran Venus sort of quality is how to use your heart to look at people as equal, look at people's opinions as equal, look at their experiences as equal, even if we don't subjectively actually really feel that way, just to hold that space for the healing of others. And then also, once again, we can do that to ourselves. So, if you have some maybe heartache and loss from, maybe people in your life not treating you well, either in the present time or in the past, we may very much realize, okay, that person was a narcissist. Like, that was not good. I definitely was, the better person in that situation. Or you may be reverse of like, oh man, like I was the horrible person in that situation. And this person's an angel. Like, why did I do that? But, that's not what this balanced heart chakra energy is about. It's about, yes, I intellectually see that. I can see that and I can feel that. And that's still real. I'm not going to just say that, like I deserve to be treated so awful because, I'm equal to the narcissist, or I deserve the narcissist, that's the equalizing factor there. That's not what it's saying. A lot of times people think that that's what you're saying when you're talking about having a balanced approach and balanced energy between two people or two things or two energies. That's not what it's about. It's approaching the situation as if there are two components, parts, 50-50 in every situation, and treating it as such. And yes, there may have been an aggressor, there may have been, a less moral person or energy or situation in this equation, but that doesn't mean that there wasn't something learned and gained by the person who was transgressed and aggressed on by having this happen. It doesn't justify what this person did, but it was still 50-50. And you still need to treat it 50-50 so that you can release it. Because if you hold on to resentment, if you hold on to anger, if you hold on to guilt, you hold on to shame, guess what? We're never going to move forward. And you're just going to continue to wallow in those emotions. And you're just going to be a repeating cycle of whatever you've already been doing. And nobody wants that. We're here to grow. We're here to move forward. So once again, balancing your heart chakra energies on the inside and on the outside, but especially on the inside this month, since once again it's retrograde season. It's a lot of Cancer energy, and that's just what it's all about and what we need to do. Alrighty, let's go ahead and do an animal spirit to close up the general themes for July. So this will be an animal spirit to help guide us through, really all the different themes of our lives this month. Okay, cool. It's the vulture. So the vulture, I'll go ahead and read that. But, as we all know, the vulture is it's a scavenger. And the vulture kind of it takes old, gross stuff and makes it good. It turns it into something good. It's the ultimate recycler. So to me, that very much goes along with all of these energies, instead of, being the predator or the prey. It's not really about that. It's how energy is recycled. How can we recycle energy that's already there? It's already dead. It already happened. The heartache and loss already happened. The boundaries already transgressed. How do we make it into something better from here? How do we recycle it into something better? Once again, very non-hierarchical, because once again, the vulture is not predator or prey. It's there to take care of everyone's crap. it's there to take care of the waste that the predator created, or the murderer. Sometimes creatures are just murdered and they're not actually even eaten by humans or by other animals. And it's not preying on anything either. So it's recycling the waste of the predator, and it's making full use of the struggle of the prey, so that life, that lost life isn't for nothing. It can be made into something that can nourish another creature without that creature really, you know, having to get involved in that karmic cycle, really, even. Okay, so it says here, guardian and purifier, the main key words, and I love this, essential for rebalance. Right there, you guys can see it yourselves. What are the chances? Not all of these cards, if hardly any of them, this is the only card in the crystal deck that says balance. This is one of the very few cards in the spirit animal deck that says anything about balance, so there you go. It says, the vulture is perhaps the most misunderstood creature of all. This intriguing bird balances our ecosystem and prevents the spread of disease. Kind of interesting, you know, being in a pandemic too. You know, and aside from because of the pandemic and aside from the pandemic, fear, we have a lot of fear right now in our collective, and that a lot of that's being pushed by the media. You know, fear is a disease too, and it causes diseases because it lowers the immune system. So it lowers confidence and all these things, whether it's emotionally or physically, you know, it can be a huge disease. So, you know, this bird, this energy prevents that by being this ultimate balancer of energies. It does the dirty work that no one else wants to do, and it cleans up our messes. Yeah, once again, who wants to do the dirty work of seeing the side of the person they don't agree with, of examining their part in a hurt or trauma where they knew the other person took advantage of them, or, you know, vice versa. So we don't want to do those things. It doesn't feel that great, but it's necessary to get rid of the energy once and for all, and to balance out the energy so that we can move forward and have new experiences and stop repeating the old experiences. The vulture appears when there's a situation that needs to be purified or brought back into balance. Remember, the vulture is greatly undervalued. What you thought was a mistake or tragedy is a blessing in disguise. So once again, how often do we say like, oh, because this person did such a horrible thing to me, or these people did such a horrible thing to these people, it's nothing but horribleness, it's nothing but bad, bad, bad. There's always some sort of blessing. There's always some sort of huge lesson or strength gained or creativity created from that tragedy. It doesn't mean that it gives the transgressor or the aggressive person or the oppressor a free ride, or, you know, exalts them for that whatsoever, or a free pass. It just means that see that there what, you know, despite the bad, which we very much can acknowledge, that there is a positive result from it, because it forced us to be stronger. It forced us to learn things about ourselves that we wouldn't have learned otherwise. It caused us to bond with people that we wouldn't have otherwise. It caused us to go down a spiritual path of enlightenment that we wouldn't have maybe gone down otherwise. And once again, we're not necessarily thanking the person or people that did bad things to us or others. We are just simply saying that despite these awful people or things, something good did come out of this. And that's evolution, that's life. It keeps going and going and going. The negative happens and the positive happens as a result. The negative and the positive. And once again, if we are going to evolve to a higher level and to being a more balanced way of being, where the positives and the negatives aren't so extreme, then we are going to have to acknowledge balance, this universal balance that applies to all people, all creatures, all systems, everywhere for the rest of all time, as long as we are on planet Earth. So it says, what you thought was a mistake or tragedy is a blessing in disguise. Super, super powerful. I know I've been going through that. Once again, like I said, I had some heart chakra stuff come up associated with like my childhood and, you know, past romantic relationships, my family. And, you know, I don't agree with some of the things that were done to me whatsoever. I still, you know, feel a lot of pain and heartache that I was treated this way or misunderstood in this way, etc. And I tell myself sometimes these stories of like, if I was just allowed to, you know, be fully who I was, and this person didn't misunderstand me so much, or this person valued me more, and just let me be a part of their life and let me give them my love and etc., whatever the situation is. I'm paraphrasing on many different situations, you know, then I could have been this like way higher up, better person by now. I could have been so much more happy by now. And those are all stories, because if that was meant to happen, guess what? It would have happened. And the person that I am now is extremely strong. And I wouldn't trade the person that I am now for anything, really, truly, because I love myself. I love who I've become. I know what creative works that I have done that have come out of this tragedy, or these tragedies and these negative feelings. I know the strength that I've gained, and I especially know the wisdom that I've gained that has not only helped me on my own personal journey, but has helped thousands of people. If I would have not have gone through those negative things, I would not have that wisdom to help hardly anybody. And so how can I take that back? I'm not exalting the people who hurt me or pardoning them in any sort of way, but I'm finding a balance within my heart because I realize what was gained at the same time. Okay. So when in balance, this energy clarifies and reveals wisdom. I just said that. When out of balance, this energy is dramatic and aggressive. Been talking about that the whole time too. If we're not in balance and we're just negative, positive, it's going to be so dramatic and everyone's going to be so aggressive, and you're going to be aggressive internally. Everything's going to be aggressive externally. And whether who's right, who's wrong, what does that do for anybody? How does that bring a more beautiful and better earth? We need to balance everything out, and then we need to sit in that balance for a while. And then once that balance has been established, there's like a calm air running through things, then we can start to create something new. Okay, it says to bring to balance, clean your space and sage. So you can imagine saging all of America, all the horrible things that have happened in America to all different people, all different, situations that we've done or been a part of. Sage it so that we can become something new after it. That's on the collective level. On the personal level, sage your relationships. You literally can be like, I'm saging this romantic relationship I had when I was 18. You could do that. I'm saging, my inner child that was yelled at when I was 8. Once again, actually cleaning your space and feng shuiing your space, which is very Cancer. The crab in its little crab shell, taking care of its home, taking care of your home and really cleansing your space shows respect for yourself. And it'll also give you time to do all those retrograde contemplations, which is why we need healthy boundaries. We need to do all this work right now. So all of these things go together really well, you guys, and they can be done simultaneously and in combination with each other. So I think that those are absolutely great energies and really exciting energies to work with this month. Okay. Alrighty, so beautiful general themes there. I'm gonna go ahead and set these all aside so I can do individual pictures, and there's no point in pulling up the same cards twice for the same month. Let's get some new energies in here. Okay, so I'm just gonna jump around with the cards. I have quite a few decks here. Some are better themed for love and for family and for career, and some are better for more general stuff. But if I feel intuitively called to pull from a deck that I was going to use for another theme, I may do that. We'll see how it goes. I really love these crystal energies. I think they're really good for everything. So I'll probably use the crystal energies for various different themes. All right, so the first one we're going to focus on is love. So everyone always wants to know about love. That's like usually one of the first things that people want to talk about when I do private readings with people. I think it's so cute. People always are like, they're like kind of like feel cheesy or feel weird sometimes saying it, but it's like, trust me, you are just, don't feel weird. You are a human being, and literally almost every human being, 95% of human beings ask about love first. Romantic love is the most intimate unit of relationships. So it is important, to start with the self first and then move into that intimate one-on-one, and then, you know, start to branch out to the family of a few people usually, and then, you know, your social circle, your work, and then all the way out into, you know, the collective, your state, your country, the world. So it just makes sense to do it that way. And, you know, I think it's very intuitive that people normally do it like that. Okay. So I'm working with the fairy energies and the mermaid energies, and those are both just energies I think are really great for teaching us love lessons and helping us get in touch with our higher vibrational feelings around love. So the first, ooh, beautiful. The first fairy oracle card by Doreen Virtue is new opportunities, or new opportunity. So you see this like little fairy, she's like in this cathedral sort of, with like the cosmos ahead of her, above her head, and she's like, oh wow, new opportunity, what's that? So to me, this is very Venus and Gemini. My Venus is in Taurus, so even though a lot of my other signs are Gemini, I'm very flighty and loving the new experiences and loving new information and new people and all those things. My Venus is very stable Taurus. I actually don't like new things a lot of times in love, and I just want to ground into like one person and one experience and one thing, which is very common for Venus and Taurus, Taurus and Venus. But Venus and Gemini loves the new. Venus and Gemini always thinks that there's someone better out there. They can get bored very quickly and easy in a relationship, and they can start, because relationships, once again, are usually supposed to be, you know, more stable. You know, Venus is ruled by Taurus and Libra, so, you know, we want stability there, and fairness and all of that. Gemini, once again, just wants new. So, and like the wind, like the air, Gemini is the air sign, mutable air. We like to flow here, we like to flow there. And so a lot of times I notice that Venus and Geminis will like make excuses for why their partner isn't like the best, and it's really just because they're bored. You know, the partners is still the same person that they were from the get-go, usually, but they were just, you know, kind of telling themselves stories sometimes about why this new person's so great, and then as soon as it starts to wear off, because they're, you know, they need to stay mentally stimulated, and they need to stay very stimulated in general about love, they start to, you know, kind of wonder, have a wandering eye, or, you know, just kind of like make excuses for why they're not interested in a person as much as they were in the beginning. And so, you know, that's kind of the more negative side, but the positive side is it can be very fun and flirtatious. And once again, if you're someone that's experienced a breakup recently, this is a great sign. So this is saying that, you know, there's new people on the horizon. There's plenty of new people to meet and to conjoin your life with Venus and Gemini energy, or it's a new opportunity in your current relationship or in your old relationships to look at someone in a new way, or to renew your relationship, you know, that may have felt kind of stale for you. Gemini, Venus and Gemini will bring that to your attention of, where am I bored in this relationship? Where does it feel stale? What am I tired of? What do I want to bring in that's new? What new things do I want to bring into this relationship? And so, you know, to me, that's a really great energy to like for Venus and Gemini. So new opportunity, whether it's with, you know, your person that you're already with, or new opportunity if you are single and you are looking for, you know, something new, or maybe you're kind of not looking for something new and telling yourself, oh, I'll never find someone else. You know, that this is saying you will, and you just need to be open to it, because if you're telling yourself that story, no one will, of course, will ever be like that other person, because we're all unique individuals, but there is someone else that's new, that is their own unique individual, that is also a beautiful and great person that can make you happy too. And if this person doesn't want you, or they're not treating you right, or you don't want them, and you can't find it in your heart to treat them right, then, you know, you just need to move forward and realize the opportunity instead of clinging. So Gemini is very good about that, keeping the energy moving, keeping things new, keeping things flowing. All right. I don't know why I'm shuffling the animals. I'm not gonna use the animals for the love right now. Let's do a crystal energy on this one. Success, orpiment is the card. And it's very orange and yellow, so sacral and solar plexus chakra. So once again, this can renew your confidence in your current relationship, or it can renew your confidence in maybe being able to attract a new mate. And it's saying that you're going to have success. So be positive when it comes to your love life, and be, as long as you're open to new opportunities within your current relationship or to others. If you're trying to move on, then it's going to be success. But if you're clinging to old, whether it's in an old relationship or, a current relationship, that it's not going to be a success. So that's really what we need to focus on here. Okay. I'm going to move on to the mermaid energies. So, knowing all of that, what do we need to know from mermaid energies, mermaid wisdom, to help us really maximize these opportunities and ensure our success? What do we need to look into? This card just fell out, so I'm gonna, there's two cards that fell out. Okay. All right, since two cards fell out, I'm just gonna use them both. Okay, so one is the Selkie and her skin, reclaiming your authenticity. To me, this is really beautiful in the context of relationships and love, and especially with new opportunities. Is that, a lot of times we can get lost in relationships and we can become somebody that we're not. And so this is telling you this is a chance to reclaim your authenticity. So Gemini is all about new energy, right? So as this wind of change, this mutable air moves through Venus, it gives us the ability to reclaim our authenticity and get back to who we truly are and make those shifts and changes before, Venus moves into Cancer, which is going to be way more of a clinging energy. We're not going to want to change as much. We're going to want to, once again, be more in the home, be more of our comfort zone. So whatever needs to be changed, now's the time to do it in July. Okay. The next card says sisterhood, which is very cool. Friendship, allies, compatible souls, loyalty, joy, and delight. So to me, this says, especially if you're a female watching this, and if you're a male too, it can be brotherhood, just, you do the correlate. To me, this says, like rely on your friends. And, maybe you'll find this new opportunity and love through your friends, or perhaps you can find new perspectives on your current love situation through your friends who know you the best and who are, your soulmates, just not in the romantic sense. And it says loyalty, joy, and delight. So, maybe that's something to focus on too. In your love life is, maybe, trying to call in more loyalty in your love relationships, whether you're the person that needs to have more loyalty or you want to call in other people that are loyal. If you have an issue of maybe attracting people who are unloyal. And then, having more joy too, like make it fun. And that's another Gemini quality too. It doesn't have to be so serious. Geminis love to have fun. If it's too serious, we don't like it. We don't want to be a part of it. If it's too serious for too long, we can be serious for a little while, but it really can't go on very long. It's got to be fun. It's got to be light. It's got to be, flowing, or we don't want to really be a part of it. And so, it doesn't have to be so like, oh my gosh, this is so serious. I'm so serious and you're so serious and what's going on between us is just so serious. I don't know how we're ever going to move past this. Or, so serious about this next person has to be my one and only, or I'm just not going to be able to handle it anymore. It doesn't have to be like that. It can be just whatever happens. Let's try it out. I'm going to keep things light. I'm going to focus first and foremost on, am I having fun? Am I having fun? Great, awesome. This relationship can stay. If I'm not, that's a good sign that it's not going to work long term, and let's get it out. Or find a new way to bring fun back into our relationship, because if you're not having fun, you're probably not having, very much passion in your relationship, and you're probably not having very good sex, and all those things kill a romantic relationship. What's the point of having a romantic relationship if you don't have those things? That's the glue that keeps romantic relationships together. So I think that that's all really great messages for Venus in retrograde July season. But let's get just one more crystal energy to clarify the mermaid energy. Oh, wow, you guys, this reading is killing me. It's just like the words that are clearly on the one card before it are coming up on the next card. You're seeing it right in front of your face. Opal, joy. And opal is the stone of love. So if you're looking at like stones that are great for romance, opal is one of the main stones that you want to recommend to people. So you may want to wear opal this month to help you attract new love, or better circumstance in your current love life, and new energy into your current love life, or in whatever way that needs to be. And once again, you need to remember to be in joy. It doesn't have to be so serious and like we're going to therapy and it's just so deep. I'm sorry to I don't mean to knock therapy, you guys. I think therapy is great. But it doesn't always, like, sometimes people get so bogged down in that, and it's just like their entire relationship is just serious and what we're working on and who did what, and it just doesn't have to be like that at all. You can let things be fresh, you can let things be new, you can let things be fun. Okay, yeah, maybe your relationship's a little fucked up here, maybe it's a little fucked up there, maybe your relationship patterns are a little fucked up here and there, and you see it in this person and you see it in that person and you see it in yourself. But I'm not saying ignore it. That's what contemplation is for, and what we saw earlier, those healthy boundaries are for, and retrograde seasons are for, is contemplating. But don't take it all so seriously where you're destroying your chances for joy and having fun. Love is supposed to be joyful, even if it's fleeting, even if you have a love situation that only lasts a few weeks. Kind of goes back to that balance thing too. It's like a lot of times if something doesn't work out, we feel like we're kind of the one taken advantage of, or we're the losing side. We're like, oh, that was so awful. I just keep getting taken advantage of, or this keeps happening. That, those are stories. It may be true in a certain sense on this side of the balance, but what's on the other side of the balance? The other side of the balance is you had fun. You probably went on some good dates. You probably did have a few good laughs. Maybe, a good make-out session or two, or good sex if you took it to that level. And it's just like you also had fun, and life is about highs and lows. So don't forget the highs just because the lows still exist. We can tend to be a very polarized species, you guys, and that's not reality on the higher planes of existence. And we are all collectively shifting into higher planes of existence, whether we like it or not. So get on the train early versus late, and you'll be a lot happier a lot sooner, whether things are going up or down. So yeah, there you go. Allow things to be fun, allow things to be joyful. Even if you're like, oh, well, I'll pick it later. Even if you're sad and crying, still find a way to laugh about it. To me, that's like, when I've been in that energy, or I know other people that have been in that energy, it's kind of like the most freeing, liberating energy ever, because you're just like, and it freaks people out, but I feel like it liberates the people who see it too, because they're like, wow, this is a possibility. You could be really depressed and sad and still want this person and still want this thing, but then you've also totally surrendered, and you think it's hilarious that you can't get something that you want so bad. It is kind of funny, so whether things are bad or good, find a way to laugh about it and be joyous. And once again, just have fun in the moment and be focused on fun, and allow things just to work themselves out naturally over time. We can't force anything, especially in love, especially in relationships. You're just one person and there's another person involved. So, and maybe for some of you, maybe it's a few people involved. So, it is what it is. Have fun with it. All right. Beautiful. Dropping cards everywhere. All right. Next category. I'm getting hungry, you guys. These readings are taking a lot out of me back to back like this. But I'm used to working big events with tarot. Some of my favorite ways to do tarot. It's not for everybody. Some tarot readers I know don't like it, but I love it. I think it's my Gemini nature of just doing like events where you just literally read for like dozens of people back to back to back to back. You know, sometimes 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 people back to back. And it's just like, I tell people it's like, I feel like I'm an auctioneer. Like, oh, I have to talk as fast as possible so I get all the messages out in this like short little time frame so I can get the next person in and the next person. But yeah, so I know I'm talking kind of fast, but you know, that's why I also recommend journaling during all this and writing down, you know, major themes and bullet points. And because it's just one reading a month now, you can always go back and watch it, and you can rewatch it with a friend or someone you care about and, you know, redigest it. So, okay, moving on from love. What's our next topic? I have my notebook here. Family. Okay, so Cancer is one of our major signs of family. I may not always do family as a theme, but for Cancer season, I'm definitely doing family as a theme. If it's Taurus or Cancer season, I'm probably definitely doing family as a theme, always. So let's see what's going on in our family lives. And once again, it's a great time to heal right now during retrograde season. We also have, I think, Chiron going retrograde or doing some really cool stuff in mid-July. So Chiron's our wounded healer sign. So, you know, looking at where you can heal old wounds mid-July, maybe even starting already like I am, maybe, you know, something you really want to look into and may just be naturally occurring and happening for you. Okay, so for my family, oh no. I swear to God, you guys, I watch other tarot readers and they never, on YouTube, and they never drop their cards everywhere like I do. It's so crazy. I mean, sometimes they do. I'm lying. Sometimes they do have little things like that. But like, I've never seen one that does it every time. And like, nothing is really that different from our setups. It's always like a wood table with a box. Like all these other tarot readers, their cards don't fly off the wood table. Like all wood that's polished on a table is pretty slippery. Most of them, it does not happen. Every now and then it happens, but like me, it happens every time. I'm always cards flying everywhere every time, but I'm just a very high energy person. So I think maybe that's why I just got, you know, I just have a lot of energy running through me. I have so much Gemini energy, so much Mercury energy that it just creates a lot of electrical static. Okay, so let's see what I want to start with. Let's start with our a moon energy. So Cancer, once again. Actually, not once again. I didn't say that this reading yet. The ruling planet of Cancer is the moon. So I have the Moonology deck here to help us with those Cancer energies. So basically, I'm going to pull a moon energy here. And the moon rules our emotions and our most intimate, deepest feelings and relationships, relationship patterns, emotional karma. And so we're going to see what Spirit wants to tell us about in that realm for this Cancer season, for July. Okay. Void of course, moon. Nothing will come of this situation. It sounds very doomsday, but we don't have to think about it like that. So void of course, moon basically just means that the moon isn't in any sort of sign. So it's kind of like this blank state. And I wouldn't get too attached to that statement here because I've read this card before, and the meaning in the book doesn't mean like, oh, you know, nothing's gonna happen, bye. Like, it sounds like, well, why even read about this, or why even care about this energy if nothing's gonna happen? I love all these cards, but this is one of my least favorites for what it says on the actual card. But, let's see what it says in here. I'll read this to you guys. Hope it'll help us make more sense. Okay. So it says, this may or may not be good news depending on what you're asking. For example, if you were worried about something, whatever it was, this card can be taken as a sign that there is nothing to worry about. So maybe, if you're worried about something in your family, this is saying it could be a good thing, that this is, nothing to really worry about. Like things are gonna probably stay about the same, we're just meant to sort of learn during this time, but, not too much is really actually changing in the physical world, because it's more internal and we're processing inwardly more. It says, however, if you're asking about a new project of any kind, including a new relationship, it's a sign to adjust your expectations or change things so you can get a different outcome. Okay, that makes a lot of sense to me, on the other side of things, because once again, if you're maybe worried about something, this could be telling you don't worry, it's gonna be okay. But yeah, if you were it's a lot of times with family, I've been experiencing this recently, you just you hold on to these expectations of if I just do this or they just do that, or I'm having all these realizations and I'm doing all this inner balancing with my family karmas and traumas, it's gotta radiate out to them. It's gonna change them too. And guess what? That's so often not the situation. And we can't really place that on other people. We kind of just have to let our own work be our own work, even with family when it involves other people, and know that you may be moving mountains internally with your family, but things may always stay the same externally. And it doesn't mean that the work you're doing internally doesn't matter or isn't right or didn't amount to anything. It just means that other people are on their own path and you are on your own path. And you just have to be proud and happy for the progress that you're making and not attach it to anyone else's. Don't make your inner successes have to be reflected in outer successes, because you're just going to continue to get disappointed. And that happens a lot with, I notice a lot of light workers and empaths with their families. It's we come to so many conclusions and forgiveness and, such, great heights and healing around our family issues. But then you look at your family members and they're the exact same as they were when they were damaging you when you were 8 years old, 10 years old, 20 years old. And you're just how am I forgiving you for all this stuff and you're the same? And it's just, we have to realize, which usually they're not totally the same. They usually make their own little slow progresses. But once again, if you're a light worker and you're an empath, it is your path to evolve at a very exponential speed. I mean, think about it, light worker. You're going to be evolving at the speed of light compared to someone that's just not a light worker. They're here more for their own karma. They're not really here for the karmas for the planet and everyone else as much as you are. They're here more for their own karma, and you were once at that place too. You get to be a light worker after you've mastered being, someone that's just about themselves and their own karma for a very long time, being in their own being for a long time, a normal person, a muggle, whatever you want to call it. And so we were all there. And so, honor and respect your family for being there too, and realize that you are a part of their lessons, but that they're just as much as you are, they're you, but that you just aren't going to see them grow as fast and as much as you are or may ever be, because you're just different types of beings with completely different ways of healing and ascension and processing. If you're a light worker or empath, there's a good chance you've already ascended being a human before, and you chose to come back down after ascending once, twice, maybe a few times to come help out the planet. Whereas if someone is a newer soul here, they've never left Earth before, they've never ascended all the way through, obviously it's going to take them longer. They're not going to know everything you know or be able to move at the speed you move at. So just respect them for that and still love them for that. And once again, doesn't mean you have to tolerate abuses or things that, still trigger you. Have those healthy boundaries that we saw earlier in the reading, but yeah, don't have too big of expectations, but don't just make yourself a welcome mat just because you've forgiven them and you've moved so far beyond it. just to get disappointed and re-triggered and then go back down your downward spiral. Keep your place, keep where you've evolved to, but then keep your boundary with it. And part of that boundary is realizing that they may never be doing the full work that you're doing ever, to the day that they die. You all die. And that it's not a disappointment. It may feel that way, but it's not. It's just you're on your own paths, and it just is what it is. And it does not everything. Once again, I'm not thinking about balance. Balance is about how you feel inside, not about what you learn and how you receive wisdom and grow, not about who's right, who's wrong. Okay, so it says, remember the cards can only predict what you're currently creating, and you can change that with both your behavior and beliefs. That's always a good thing to remember. To attune to this moon, the mantra is, I trust in my highest good. So once again, just trust that you're living in your highest good and be your highest best self. It doesn't mean you have to say, oh, okay, if you still want to, criticize me in that way, or you still want to backstab me in that way, or whatever, your family situation is, you still want to harm me in that way or misunderstand me in that way, like, it's fine because I'm just spiritual now and I don't care. That's not what it means. It doesn't mean be welcome at, but it also means don't fight and don't force people to be something they're not. It means just be like, okay, okay, cool. And know that you've already done the work, you've already healed from this thing, so don't allow yourself to be re-triggered by something that you've already healed from, and don't engage with it as well. Don't try to change it on their side because you've already changed it on your inside. And just love them from afar. It doesn't have to be physical distance, just love them from afar emotionally. Knowing that you're completely different people, but you're still in the same family for a reason. And for some of you, it could be physically, if your family members have done something really horrible, where you just really don't want to be around them physically anymore, extreme abuses, which is the case for some people, it may mean that too, loving them from, very, very far physical distance. You may never want to see them again, never want to tolerate their existence again, but you're not holding on to those old feelings because it only harms you. You're letting it go, and you're saying, I send you love no matter what. We were in the same family for a reason. You taught me how to be strong through all these awful things. You taught me beauty. You taught me creativity through all these horrible things. And that's just life, and we're moving forward. Okay, additional meanings for the card. The chances of something are diminishing. Once again, that goes along with the void, of course. Something better may be around the corner. Once again, we gotta really look for that, though. We have to actively seek the balance. Believe you will get what you need. So to me, that's a part of that vulture energy of things being blessings in disguise, and know that you're always being given what you need, even if something doesn't meet your expectations or isn't your ultimate ideal reality. Surrender to the divine. So, don't just be so based in this physical 3D reality and 3D stories and 3D history and past. Like, surrender to the divine, which knows exactly why you've gone through everything you've gone through, and is going to take you to a better place if you can just surrender and trust and not control. Take time out, meditate, and contemplate. So to me, once again, that goes very much with retrograde season, Cancer season, saging and cleaning your home and having healthy boundaries, having alone time, and doing that processing way more than the output. All right, beautiful. Another mantra here, Om Namo Narayani, which is Sanskrit, and it means I surrender to the divine. So that might be a Sanskrit chant you want to look up. You may even want to play it on loop. If you can find it on YouTube or Spotify or something, and sing along to help you embody those energies. A lot of people don't know this, but the Sanskrit was actually created, the vowel sounds of Sanskrit were actually created around the sounds of the chakras. So when you sing Sanskrit, it actually physically aligns your chakras, which is many languages actually have a lot of sounds that are disruptive to the chakras. So if you want to, have a balanced chakra energy and have chakra healing, chanting in Sanskrit can be a really great way to balance yourself internally without having to be so intellectual and contemplative about it all. But we should contemplate, take that time, of course, but it's not the only way to heal. And once again, yoga too, moving your energy through your physical body. A lot of our emotions are trapped in our physical muscles, our blood. You know, like we have a feeling that then we store it there and we never get rid of it. And so moving your body through yoga and, you know, breath work and meditation, really great too for healing. Okay, the healing crystal energy on this is diopside. And I love the energy that's associated with is Mother Earth. And it's green. So green is the color of the heart chakra. So it makes sense of, you know, why we would want to focus on, you know, the purity of the heart chakra when talking about healing certain things with our families, especially things that we can't control, and dropping some of those expectations and learning how to just have more reliance on our own internal balance and reality and healing versus needing to always see it in the 3D and always see it in others. Other people are on different timelines. It just is what it is. And so also this tells me that another healing thing to do for ourselves right now, as far as like healing family traumas and wounds and past, present, future, is getting in touch with Mother Earth. So, you know, maybe buying this stone could help you do that more. Or if you already have it, working with it. And then also, just going out in nature, being around, you know, the beautiful greenery of nature and allowing that to heal you, and realize that, you know, if you don't have the best relationship with your mother, your birth mother, or with your father, or with, you know, any members of your family, that Mother Earth is your ultimate mother. She's everyone's mother, and she loves you no matter what. So any love that you're not getting and understanding you're not getting from your family that you really want, you can get from her. And so you can always fill that void. The void is never completely open. There's always somewhere where you can fill that void. You just may have to seek, you know, outside of our sort of 3D constructs. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful. Let's look at a tarot energy. So let's see some tarot clarification. Tarot energies are much more specific. So maybe some specific guidance here on this energy of family and how we can heal family, what we can do to heal our families. I'm picking 2 cards here. Woo! 5. So 5 of Cups and 5 of Swords. I will be honest with you guys, these are not my 2 favorite cards or many people's favorite cards. 5 of Swords. Swords is the air element. Swords shows mental conflict. It shows a situation where there's always a winner and a loser. And 5 of Cups is a very heartache sort of energy. It's an energy of loss and of grief. However, as you can see here in the card, I always point out to people, is 2 of the cups, 3 of the cups have fallen. So the majority of the cups have fallen, 3 of them have fallen, but 2 of them are still upright. So to me, this is like, you know, maybe the relationships of others that aren't exactly what you want them to be, but here are the 2 cups that you have for you, and maybe even a relationship in your family that is really positive that you can rely on. Or maybe, you know, that's even just Mother Earth or your soul family. And so, I think this is really great. So this may be, you know, a dynamic in your family where one person always has to be right. And that's just the way it is. That's the way it's always going to have to be if, you know, they're locked into being that person on their karmic path. And so it just may be something that you have to accept and, you know, heal internally, so it doesn't continue to harm you, and, you know, seek your healing from Mother Earth and from your own heart chakra, instead of, you know, needing to once again see it on the outside. So once again, cups are water element, swords are air element. So in the mind and in the heart, in our emotions, we're feeling like, oh man, like some loss, and like I may always not get the you know, long end of the stick. They're always gonna get the long end of the stick. And, you know, like going back to healthy boundaries, like you got to be okay with that. You have to set your boundaries with yourself, that that's fine, and that you've done all you can do internally, and that's all you can do internally. You can't force anyone to be any sort of certain way until they're ready to. and, you know, just focus on you, focus on your balancing your own heart chakra, purifying your own heart chakra, and connecting with Mother Earth to receive the healing that you deserve in order to do that. Wow, that's really powerful. Okay, so putting those aside too, and we have 2 more left. Career and purpose. Sometimes those are different for us, sometimes they're the same. So we'll just see whatever comes up is what's meant to be. And then our spiritual evolution, which I feel like all of this combined, we've already obviously talked about our spiritual evolution a lot. So I'll make that one really quick. So I know this reading's getting kind of long. So, you know, this next one, we'll take our time with the career and purpose, like we did with everything else. But for spiritual evolution, we've really gotten through a lot of those themes already. So we'll just get some quick energies just to close everything up and end everything up as like a, you know, just seal it all in before ending the reading. Okay. So for career and purpose, I pulled out the Dragon Oracle, the Goddess Oracle, and the Earth Warriors. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and remove these crystal energies for now, unless I feel called to use them at some point in this reading, this theme's reading, or the next ones. And I'm going to I haven't used these Earth Warriors in a reading in a little while, so I'm going to go ahead and start off with the Earth Warriors. These tend to be pretty long too. The description in the books are pretty long for the Earth Warriors. So I probably, if I read it all, it would be like 10 minutes of reading to you guys. So, you know, maybe I'll probably just read certain parts of it, whatever calls to me. And some of these archetypes I already know about from, you know, doing my own spiritual studies and, you know, having my bachelor's degree in anthropology. I already know a good bit about some of these archetypes from different cultures, but some of them I'm just not familiar with that culture and their spiritual tradition. And instead of, you know, making it up, I'd rather read from the book and get the real meaning of that archetype. Okay. So for everyone watching that's going to tune in, what do they need to hear about their purpose and where to maybe even take their career right now? Maybe how to combine their career and their purpose more, or support their career with their purpose with their career. What do they need to hear the most right now for their highest and best? Oh my gosh. This is one that comes up a lot too lately. Okay. This is Istan at Lehi. Istan at Lehi. Turquoise Changing Woman. I'm probably butchering that name, but hopefully not. If I am, I apologize, and you guys can correct me in the comments. Let me show you guys this a little bit longer. So as you can see here, she's holding up her thumb to like her third eye. So to me, that automatically says getting in touch with our intuition. And, you know, turquoise is a very healing stone. It was very highly revered in a lot of Native American cultures. So, you know, maybe focusing on healing work or healing yourself. There's also the full moon, which we have a full moon coming up. So, you know, using the powers of this full moon lunar eclipse to maybe get more connected to your purpose and your career, where you want to take your career this weekend. And yeah, looking at the hummingbird energy too. Hummingbirds are all about magic and transformation. I always associate hummingbirds with like the fairy realm. So, you know, maybe something along those lines may help you connect to your purpose as well. Okay, what number? Oh, number 2. Okay. So this is what it says for the turquoise changing woman. It says, I am the turquoise moon mother, and I come to you now with a message of change. This may be a change that you want or a change that you fear, but either way, I will show you how to use this change to become stronger, wiser, and more empowered to fulfill your divine destiny. Do not fear the changes around you and within you. Trust in the timing of what is happening in your world. So this makes total sense to me. I mean, think about what's going on in the world right now. So many people are losing their jobs or getting laid off, or their job has had to change in some sort of way. It's more virtual now, online, or they've had to, cut back on their employees, or, their coworkers have been cut back. And so you're taking on more responsibility, or you may have had to shift your job title or your job duties a little bit. So this makes a lot of sense, in that very 3D sense, like I was just talking about, but also in, the very like astral spiritual sense too of, maybe all of these 3D changes are making a lot of us, I know it's making a lot of us reevaluate from the 5D of like, okay, well, since everything's changing on the 3D, like I was kind of just like, accepting like, this is what I'm doing, this is what I do. I go into work every day, I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this, this is how it's done. This is how I've been doing it for years or for months. And all of a sudden, huge break in that. And, maybe you're someone, you stayed in the same job, you want to stay in the same job, but it's just, you have to adapt to little changes here and there. Or maybe this entire change and this whole reset has made you rethink everything. And you're like, well, if I've already been laid off or out of a job for like 3 months now, 4 months now, like maybe this is like a way that spirit is telling me I need to change things completely. Or maybe with your downtime, you've just, with all this extra downtime we've had in quarantine and, a lot of us unemployed or laid off, or, our work hours cut back in some way, that you've had more time for yourself and to contemplate spiritually than you've had in a really long time. And so maybe this has brought to you, or maybe your industry is changing and you're realizing, I don't really want to be in this industry anymore. It doesn't really it's not who I am anymore. I was just kind of kept doing it because that's what I was doing and I didn't really have time to change, and I was making money and I just had to keep doing it. But now that I have the time to reevaluate things, like I kind of want to do this other thing, or, I want to, shift streams completely because I'm realizing new things about myself every day as I have more time to myself. So to me, that seems pretty complete, honestly, but let's see what else it says here. It says, when something needs to end, Great Spirit will show the way to empty ourselves of the past and prepare for new beginnings. So to me, if you're clinging to the past and your career, your purpose, just let it go. This is the best time ever. You're not going to be scrutinized as much by your friends or your family or even by yourself or your industry, because everything is flying out the window. So now is your time to just go ahead and do it and surrender to the divine. It may be scary. You may be like, okay, who said that I could be good at this thing? Or who said that, all of a sudden I could switch my purpose right in front of everyone, when I'm, in my 30s or 40s or 50s or maybe even older, maybe younger. But who cares? No one cares. No one is watching you as much as you think they're watching you. I always tell people that, and it's just so true. And it's just honestly very egoic to assume that people are so obsessed with you and watching you and analyzing you as much as you think they are. If everyone did that, then we would only be able to think about other people all the time. We wouldn't ever think about ourselves, and that doesn't happen for most people. Most people are just worried about their own life, and they're not really thinking about whether something's your purpose or not your purpose as much as you think they are. And if you do have people in your life challenging you about it, then that's not their place anyway. So just don't even worry about it. Don't think about it. Only you know. And it's a great exercise that helps strengthen your ability to be autonomous and to be a full-grown adult who does whatever they want, whenever they want, and doesn't need permission from anyone else. Okay, what else? When there is lack or deprivation, the abundance and generosity of the universe shall bring fullness. We do not need to fear change, whether wanted or unwanted. We just need to trust in the good and loving workings of the universe. Estan et lehi reminds us of the divine feminine wisdom and power, which expresses itself as life, always flowing, always changing. So it's the nature of things that change. People get so afraid of change. Life is change. You're scared of life? Why'd you come down here if you're scared of life? Life is changing. It's always flowing. You don't tell the river to stop flowing. That's what it does. Every ripple is different. The river is never the same. I forget who says the quote, but it's like, you never step in the same river twice. You don't blame the river. Oh, you're inconsistent. No, like you're all of a sudden changing on me. You're changing on all of us. No, that's what it does. That's what it does best. It's meant to do that. So many of us are that way. We're meant to flow. Let's see. We belong to life and we can trust in it. Evolution is not always easy. Often it requires tremendous courage of heart and inner strength. Exactly. Yet the turquoise moon mother will help us respond to any change in a way that increases love, light, and wisdom within us and within the world. Beautiful. So I think that's something great to meditate on this full moon this weekend, you guys, is just to ask our moon mother, ask the wisdom of the moon, ask your spirit guides, whatever, ask God, whatever you feel connected to, your higher self, to put you in touch with what will bring the most love and light to your own being and into the world. Stop worrying about money, stop worrying about reputation, stop worrying about what other people are going to think, fame and fortune, all these things, they don't matter. A lot of times you'll get those things if you just stop worrying about them and you just focus on love and light, especially in the new earth. In the old earth, it was much denser and darker vibrations, but look, those people are getting exposed and they're freaking not having their jobs anymore. All these celebrities, their shows are getting canceled. The Illuminati stuff is real, you guys, and these people are going down. And so it's like, they were obsessed with all those things. Look what it did to them. It gave them, in a denser reality, in a denser time, it gave them their time to shine. But now the new earth is becoming so pure and so high frequency, they can't hide anymore. The illumination is too great. And that's what this Saturn Pluto conjunction, Plattern. That's my new word for Saturn Pluto conjunction. That's what it's all about. Pluto is about darkness and Saturn is about getting real, and Jupiter is all about illumination. Jupiter is in Capricorn too, and also in conjunction with Pluto. So it's like, boom, dark people, darkness, dark things, superficiality, things that are done for just reputation and ego and money and looking a certain way are not gonna exist anymore, you guys. And you can, but it's not gonna be as exalted, it's not gonna be as successful. In the new earth, those who are the most successful are those who are living in the current vibration that is now here, which is being of love and light and service to the world. You're not going to see it today. You may not even see it in a few months. You may not even see it in a year, but you will see it in time more and more and more. You'll definitely see an increase every month, I feel, because that's where everything's tending towards. And you may see a lot of abundance. I do all these spiritual things. I've had only a spiritual and healing career for the past 7 years, and I continue to become more and more abundant every year. So why would I stop? It's only getting to be more so. And to me, that's an indicator for anyone else that is thinking about stepping into those careers or, staying in your industry, staying in your career field, but adding more love and light into what you're currently doing and staying away from all those other darker things that don't really matter, because it's just going to hold you back. And the abundance is on the side of love and light now. And so the faster you can step into that reality and find your version of that, because it's different for everybody, the sooner you're going to be in abundance and you're going to get everything that you want. And if you're a true light being, part of what you want is going to be amazing things for the world and not just yourself, obviously. Okay. Whew. Dragon energy. So let's get a dragon energy. These dragon energies are really powerful. They're really great for like transformation. When people are like really are going through like an intense transformation, I bring out the dragon cards because they just really hit hard and they're no nonsense. Ooh, 0, the Seeker. So, 0 in tarot is the Fool card, but I'm going to read to you guys because it may not be the exact correlate in this Oracle tarot deck. So it may not be the exact correlate, so I will see what it says first before going too deep into it. But once again, here we go. There's a full moon. Not on every tarot and oracle card is there a full moon. A lot of times there's half moons, crescent moons, and new moons. Sometimes there's suns, sometimes there's stars, sometimes there's other planets. But here we go, we have 2 full moons back to back. So once again, this is telling me this lunar eclipse is going to be a great, especially with 0, so going to be a great restart for a lot of us, and a time of insight, closing up old cycles so that we can start new cycles. Okay, so I'm going to read the dragons. Okay, so yeah, this is associated with the Fool card, which the Fool sounds bad. Like, oh, why would you want to be a fool? You know, but in the tarot, it often is a very good card. If the Fool is reversed, it can sometimes be a bad card. But this came up upright, and upright, the Fool is all about like, I don't care. Like, I don't care if I'm brand new, if I know nothing about this topic, if I am a total novice, and I am doing it no matter what. And I am just going in with an open heart, open mind, and nothing but confidence. The Fool is all about just having confidence that you are setting out on the right journey. It's not about, well, I know this journey is going to bring me this, or I know so much about this that obviously this is the way I should go. It's about, no, I feel this is the way I should go, and I know I have so much to learn, but I'm never going to go anywhere at all if I don't start the journey. And so I need to have a fool's mindset, drop my ego, be more humble, and realize that I need to be on a path of learning right now. And, you know, eventually the person who learns becomes the teacher. So you can't become the teacher if you never spend your time learning. And, you know, for some of us, it's a very short time that we have to learn and before becoming the teacher. For some of us, it's much longer. And, you know, for many of us, especially as light workers, we've already been learning through experience. So, you know, the journey may not be quite as long as you think it is. You just need to be open to learning as you're growing and teaching and healing along the way. Or whatever new thing you want to do. You just need to be, you know, open to learning about it and looking at it in a different light and having that fool's mindset of like, I don't know, maybe I don't know anything, you know, and I'm ready to be teachable for this new career, this new purpose, this new earth, etc. Okay, the energy is the energy of birth. So once again, new beginnings, birth. Allow yourself to be rebirthed. Be a little baby. Keyword meaning limitless possibilities. So that's the thing is when we're the Fool and we are birthed for the very first time, we have nothing but endless possibilities. So what a beautiful thing to start over again and not be trapped in the old stories of what we were doing and just have nothing but new and nothing but fresh new slate to go anywhere we need to go. It says, the seeker holds the energy of new beginnings. He walks with trust and innocence, unaware of worldly limitations. Everything is possible. The only limits are those created by the mind. If you can imagine it, it can become real. And that brings me to, we actually have Neptune in its native sign of Pisces right now. And we will for the rest of July. So Pisces is the ultimate dreamer. I referenced Pisces earlier with Albert Einstein, you know, that ultimate visionary and thinker. And so, Pisces isn't really actually associated with being actually the best thinkers on like a logical, analytical level, like Virgo or Gemini, the Mercury signs. But they're great at like thinking in this very imaginative way and creative way and very like watery, flowy. where it's just like Pisces, when they think, they see more like images and feelings, and it's like watercolors flowing, you know, not as much like concrete facts and words like a Mercury mind. But they definitely are ruled by that ability to just be very visionary and to dream, and to really like, because of their ability to dream so big, they're able to accomplish very big things a lot of times, because they have the ability to dream bigger than other people may dream, because of their limitations of, you know, being a more concrete thinker. Okay, it says, if we choose to align our current energy to this, okay, I skipped something. If you can imagine it, it can become real. So tapping into that Pisces or Neptune energy, if you can imagine it, it can become real. Many might say that only a fool would seek out a dragon, but the fool is without fear. So once again, yeah, people, you know, a lot of people place that on others of, you know, like, oh, you're gonna do that? That's so dangerous, or no one's ever done that before, or you don't know anything about that. Like, why would you do that? But the fool doesn't care. The fool doesn't say those things. The fool is like, you know, just like, I don't care, you know, like I'm not living in that realm that you guys are living in. My reality is different every day if I want it to be, and I can imagine things being great doing this new path. So guess what? They will be. If I can imagine it, then I can create that vibration, and all I have to do is follow that vibration until it becomes a reality. It says, if we choose to align our current energy to this magnificent being, it will take us on a wonderful adventure. And then it says, you have the opportunity to unlock the limitless potential you hold within your being. Let go of the past and embrace the realm of self-expression. Just be yourself. Let no thoughts limit you. Don't believe others when they tell you that what you are dreaming of is impossible. You create your own reality, and you choose, either consciously or subconsciously, what you experience in life. So true. Beautiful. Absolutely love it. That's amazing. I think it's such a great energy as a clarifier on the turquoise changing woman. It's just like, you can change whenever you want to. There's never a right or a wrong time to change. You can do it whenever you want to. You can do it right this very second and never look back, and be a new you, go on a new path. All right. So let's look at the goddess energy. That's going to go with this. The goddess energies are really, really beautiful in helping us connect to our purpose and our higher intuition. All right, 21. This says home. And this looks like a very solar type of energy. It could be a full moon, but this says Hestia. I'm pretty sure it says Hestia. These letters in the goddess cards are kind of hard for me to read sometimes. Okay, 21, Hestia. Let's see what the book has to say about her. Sounds familiar, but I'll be honest with you guys, I don't really know anything about goddess Hestia. And I just want to put it out there too, you guys, like, it's totally cool if you believe that these are real goddesses and things that exist out there. But, you know, to me, a lot of these are just mythology that are archetypes that spirit can use to help us learn certain lessons or embody certain energies. So it's up to you how you interpret it, but I just want to put it out there because sometimes people watch my readings and they think that, like, because I'm reading these cards that have these different deities and energies on them, that I believe that every one of them is like a real thing in the sky doing these things. And like, that's fine if you believe that, and that's, you know, that's your belief, but that is actually not what I believe. And so, you know, like, to me, they're just archetypes that God and my ancestors and my angels, which are really the only things that I communicate with, show me, so that to help give you guys and give myself archetype energies to focus on that I can internalize. And, you know, they're great stories all stories have some sort of meaning in them. And so to me, it's just, they're great stories to apply to your life. But once again, if you're someone that you feel that goddess is looking down upon you and they're there in some sort of, energy for you, then like you can call upon them too. So whatever aligns for you. Okay. And the empowerment message here for the goddess Hestia, it is Hestia, is being at home in your own skin, is what the Greek goddess, so she's from the Greek pantheon, Greek goddess of the hearth, Hestia, offers you today. When you are in alignment with your truest self, it's like everything you do suddenly fits and feels right. Beautiful. So to me, this is like the energy that comes once you're just like, okay, I accept the change. I accept it. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to be on a new journey. I don't care what anyone thinks. And this is like, yes, be true to yourself. It's going to feel really freaking good when you do. Now is the time to also look into your domestic environment. So getting a little bit of advice there, like in the 3D practical reality, something we can do, which is very Cancer season. Once again, we've gotten many messages today about taking things internally and looking at our home life, cleaning our home life, and something about the nuclear family, something around those lines. So it says, now is the time to also look into your domestic environment, making sure you are surrounded by beautiful things that have a special positive meaning for you. So if you have things in your home that represent, they may not be bad, and you may be nostalgically drawn to them because they represent something, a part of you that was really great at one point and that helped you get to where you are now. Or it could be a very something that you're very proud of, but you can always put that away so that you can now live in the current reality. You're not living in a reality of 5 years ago or whenever it was. Like if you're you're changing and you're starting on this new journey, you're gonna need new surroundings to make you believe that. And most of us, especially during quarantine times and during Cancer season and retrograde season, we spend the most time at home right now. And so how are you going to really subconsciously and psychically believe that you're starting a new life and a new path and a new, way of doing things if your surroundings are the same that they've been for years? It's going to be very hard for your subconscious to believe that, but you change everything up. You make it very fresh and new and associated with positive emotions instead of maybe some of the more negative emotions that may have been going on when you had these other objects or things around. Then you're going to be on a fast track to getting down that path a lot sooner, a lot quicker, and with much more ease, because it's going to be there. Just every part of your reality. You're not going to have to look past the old because you're already in the new. Okay, it says cleaning, tending home, and taking care of simple things are what is called for now. The answers to the big questions come of their own accord when you're focused on the small tasks. So once again, I said that earlier, or channeled that earlier, is that a lot of times when we're cleaning and we're focusing on the interior in the home, and we're just, kind of like cleaning, listening to some music, away from everyone, telling people to leave us alone for a little bit, that's when sometimes the biggest realizations and inspirations and like frequency uploads happen for us, especially during this Cancer season time. Okay, it says the goddess Hestia reminds you that when you are at home in yourself, you are at home in the world. So once again, getting right with yourself, getting comfortable with yourself, this new ever-changing self that you are. Alignment message. Are you surrounded by clutter in your home or your work? Do you have objects or clothes that have negative stories attached to them? I think all of us do, unless you're like an ultimate feng shui master. I've been feeling really called to that. It's like getting rid of, I'm going to do it sometime this week, I'm going to get rid of a bunch of clothes. And I'm always, people who know me, I'm always redoing things. And so there's definitely more places where I can redo, and so I'm going to do that this week already. So this is a great message. Negative stories attached to them. Every object holds energy and tells a specific story. The pants that don't fit you, the gift from an ex-partner that taunts you, the books you will never read that shout at you. Who needs this cacophony. The goddess Hestia, who rules the hearth, so hearth and home is like a saying, offers you this alignment task. Do a thorough house cleaning. Declutter and make space in your environment. Do the same for your mind too. Your mind may be cluttered with old stories that have no value for you now. Walk away from situations you know you don't belong in. Get rid of it all. When you remove the superfluous distractions, it's amazing how your intentions come together like magic. Make space for the miracles the goddess Hestia has in store for you. Yes, it takes work, but it's worth it. I love that, you guys. It's so beautiful. It's just like so in alignment with this career and purpose reading. And it's just so in alignment with the whole reading in general, and just with the energies of Cancer. Like this, all these readings could not have been like more Cancer energy, more retrograde energy. I love it. If anyone doubts the tarot, I don't even know how they could. But if they do, show them this video. It's unreal. You compare what, you could just say like, oh, well, they're just making it matched up to this or up to this, but like you read any Cancer retrograde forecast out there that someone who's never watched this tarot reading says, it's gonna match up perfectly with what just happened here spontaneously in front of your faces. And then look at all the repeating words, you guys. There's so many cards that don't say any of this, and we just happen to pick the very few from different decks all together that are saying the same thing. Like, I feel like I don't have to convince you if you're probably watching a tarot video already, but we can all have those doubts. Sometimes me as a tarot reader, every now and then, I even have doubts. And it's things like this happen over and over again, and I'm just like, what? Of course, duh. So, doubt can be one of the biggest things that keeps us from making change. And sometimes when we're in the moment, we're like, oh my God, that's so crazy. That's obviously true because look how that happened. It has to be spiritual. It has to be real. But then we get distracted in our 3D reality. We talk to our 3D friends and family, and we start to forget that magic that happened right in front of our eyes. So, just a reminder to you guys, and an emphasis on this is no way possible for this all to be by chance or to be orchestrated in any sort of way, but by the divine. And what beautiful positive messages we have here. So why not use them to their fullest and best? Okay, I think to close up the reading, as far as our spiritual evolution goes, we already know what our spiritual evolution is really doing, I feel like now, after going through all these different topics. But let's just end with maybe one or two cards on what we can do for our spiritual ascension. Oh, beautiful. Kunzite. So self-love. This one came up actually on the solar eclipse. This was the card that I pulled for the collective. So like I said, we're revisiting we're revisiting the topics and themes of the solar eclipse on this lunar eclipse. So on the lunar eclipse, check in with yourself. Those, especially if you watched my reading and you kind of set those intentions with me, or you journaled about it, whether you did it with me or you did it, it came up for you outside of that reading, on the solar eclipse, revisit what you wrote then and the intentions you set then, and see how far you've come since then in between this moon cycle, from the solar eclipse new moon to the lunar eclipse full moon. It was just 2 weeks. So a little more than 2 weeks. Yeah, about 2 weeks. So how far did you come? And from the moon going from brand new to full, how full did you get with self-love? And if you didn't, that's fine. It's just information. Just take it and recommit moving forward. And if you did really great with it, give yourself a pat on the back and let yourself be proud of that, and allow yourself to really move forward with that. And learn the lessons of what went right, and continue to do that, and continue to recommit to what's working or what you believe will work in the future. Okay, so these are the Wisdom of Avalon cards. I really love these because Avalon is known to be a place in the British Isles where there was a lot of spiritual ascension happening. It was very outside of the what we traditionally think of as like old British civilization being sort of this like very like like harsh Christian, rigid, masculine colonization sort of energy, which it very much was. But Avalon was like, and especially the period of time that Avalon like reached its height was like a place of magic, and it was a place of like wizardry and high priestesses, and where like Christianity was infused with earth magic, and kind of like a lot of Celtic inspirations infused into it. And so these are very wise old energies, and so I think it's really beautiful to use for talking about spirituality, our spiritual path and ascension. So we got 2 cards here. So disruption and protection. Cool. It may seem like very opposite energies, but to me this seems very obvious right away of the relationship between the two, especially after the rest of this reading. So it takes disruption to create protection. If you want to be protected in the new reality, the new earth, your new self, you're going to have to disrupt something. And it's also saying whatever disruptions that are happening in your life, whether it's a breakup or some sort of realization about yourself that you've been on the wrong path for a little while maybe, or not the wrong path because I don't like using that word, but like a path that doesn't serve you anymore. Or like you lost your job, or you've been losing your job for a while, or just losing interest or just something ending and some sort of harsh reality happening. The disruption card is like the Tower card. So it's like like bam, boom, this is out of my control. Like I didn't even want for this to happen, but now all of a sudden I'm seeing things in a new way, and like, can we just go back to the old way? You can't, and because it just is what it is. And so, but it's saying this disruption, don't see it as a bad thing. Don't cry over it. That this is protecting you. You may think this disruption is something bad that's happening to you. It's this huge loss, but it's actually here to protect you for what you're really, truly, your spirit and your soul it's best for it. It's protecting you from what doesn't serve you anymore and what's negative for you and holding you in a lower vibration, essentially. And if disruption is protecting us from the lower vibrational ways of being and being untrue to ourselves, and lower vibrational relationships and things like that, then then we should welcome the disruption, because it's just it's protecting us from all those things. And if that's what it's doing, then it can only create a great environment for the light and the positivity to now come in and flourish, because light and positivity can't reach its height and can't truly take hold and become permanent, and like we saw that firm foundation, become a firm foundation in your life, if there's still all these little negative things like weeds, like in the garden. Like you can have weeds in your garden and stuff's still gonna grow. The good stuff, the stuff that you can eat and be nourished by, is still gonna grow, but eventually those weeds are going to possibly take over, and your garden's going to be at like 50% capacity or 20% capacity when it could be 100%. But if you take time to remove all those weeds and continue to remove them every week, your garden can function at 100% all the time. So why would you not want that? A lot of times we try to add the positive without removing the negative, and we just think, oh, well, the more I add the positive, the more it'll push out the negative. That's true to a certain extent, but it's not really how things actually work truly. And it can only go so far. Like if you plant a garden, and yes, you have to remove some weeds to put the new plants down automatically, but that garden isn't just gonna, all those crops and all those flowers and fruits and vegetables, they're not gonna just take over the weeds. The weeds are just gonna go away. You have to actually remove the weeds and nourish what is meant to be there for your positive benefit. So I love gardening references, you guys. I've learned so much from gardening. It's a really big reference for life. I used to think I wasn't great with plants, but it was just because I was so focused on people that I wasn't giving myself time to really nourish the plants properly. And now that I've been doing that, I actually realize my whole family's been telling me I have such a green thumb, which makes sense because I come from a generation of like 300 years of farmers, probably more, probably like 500, maybe 1,000 years of farmers. So it's in my DNA. I just had to connect to it and get back to who I truly am internally versus being someone that other people were telling me that I was, or that I was just relying on my strengths. So if you're someone that you think you don't have a green thumb, you know, yes, certain people have, you know, more so than others, but try it out either way, and just don't tell yourself those stories, because gardening and working with the earth is a beautiful metaphor for life, and it will teach you things beyond just the plant world. It'll teach you spiritual lessons, I promise you. Okay, last message. A door to the infinite. Beautiful. So to me, this says, it's like that Fool card we just saw, that zero, the dragon new beginnings card, is that when we allow ourselves to have that Fool's energy and to start anew, the possibilities are limitless. So this is saying you have infinite possibilities ahead of you. All you have to do is tend to it, believe it, visualize it with that Neptune and Pisces energy, and you know, reflect on it with all the retrograde energy, create a nice home around it with the Cancer Sun energy, and you know, believe it to achieve it. All right, beautiful energies. And so this is our spiritual ascension, our inner spiritual path, but of course that's going to be reflected in the rest of our life, and of course these are all obviously intertwined together. So hopefully you guys enjoyed those messages. Hopefully you enjoyed having a little bit longer reading. It'll, like I said, it's just gonna be once a month. So hopefully you, at some point, you can take the time to watch the whole thing. And you know, once again, I would love for you guys to share this with friends, share it online, share it wherever you'd like to share it. You know, these messages are really important, I think, right now. We have a whole month to digest them. So, you know, let's go ahead and get it out there and get people thinking about these things and taking care of themselves, taking care of what's really meant to be right now, and working on the energies that are meant to be right now for all of our highest and best. I would love to hear from you guys how this reading made you feel, any messages that came to you while you were watching it, how it resonated with you, you know, while you were experiencing it, as well as, you know, after you know, maybe had some time after the reading to contemplate it and see how it played out for you over the course of the month. So feel free to come back in a few weeks and let me know how it all played out for you, how this helped you, anything that you would like to add on, any advice you would like to give anyone else that's, you know, here, a part of this collective, watching these videos. And I appreciate you all, and I look forward to seeing you guys in a month, but it'll be a little less than a month because I'm going to get this, I switched the format up real quick on you guys, so I got this one out on the 4th, but next month I'll definitely have it out on the 1st, if not the day before. And so stay tuned. Once again, if you subscribe, you'll get the notifications automatically. And yeah, best of luck, namaste, and I look forward to seeing you guys all very soon, and hope you have a beautiful rest of your July. Happy lunar eclipse, happy Cancer season. Next time I see you, it'll be Virgo, not Virgo, it'll be Leo. I'm already skipping ahead. Okay, bye you guys.